Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I am your podcast host for the show today. And today we have Rachael-Ann Harrison, founder and managing director of Chadwick Accountants and Bookkeepings Limited, as our guest. We're so excited to dive into her story, learn about her journey to business ownership, and what it really takes to own and operate a business. We're going to cover challenges she's faced and things that she's learned along the way. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Well, welcome, Rachael-Ann. It is so nice to have you here on the show today.
Hi, Kay. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Great. Well, let's start off with share a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the business.
Great. Well, as you've alluded to, I'm Rachael-Ann Harrison, the MD of this business. The business is set up to be completely different to a traditional accountancy practice. And what I mean by that is we are really focused on service. A lot of accountants set up with a bit of a solicitor mindset, and it's all about billable time and how much can I bill the customer. We're about the service. We come up with a package that meets that customer's needs, and then we deliver. One of the other things that makes us quite different is that most of us come from industry, so we don't come from practice, and many of us are CIMA qualified rather than ACA or ACCA, which means we're forward-looking accountants, we're business accountants, we're looking at running your business and assisting you to forecast and raise investment rather than looking at the past and just doing the compliance piece.
Oh, I'm just taking a quick note. That is very, very cool. I'm really excited to dive into this because as a small business owner myself, and as many of our listeners, they may be looking for like at this like accounting in one way, and this is going to shed so much light. So I'm so excited to dive in. How did you get started with this? Like, what kind of was your backstory of launching the company?
It's a great question. So I spent my career in industry being second to CEO in various different industries, always working closely with them, running big finance teams and making sure we delivered for the company. Obviously, in that role, I would deal with external accountants a lot, deal with auditors, and I noticed they were all a little bit rubbish. And I just thought it was middle of COVID, and I have lots of friends in business, and they were talking to me and saying, how do I claim furlough? Are there any grants I can have to help me? And I'm like, why isn't your accountant helping you with this? And they were
Mm.
like, well, can't you help me with this? And I'm thinking, I need to be regulated and all the rest of it if I'm going to help you with this. Uh, and I just thought it was middle of COVID, and I thought, you know what? There is a real need for proactive accountants, people who are going to handhold business owners. So I decided I'm going to give my husband a heart attack as the breadwinner, give up the big paid job, and start my own business.
Mhm.
It's something I've always wanted to do. So I sold my car. I said, I bought myself this banged up Fiesta for 500 quid. And I said, look, if this business fails, all I have lost is my car. Give it 6 months and I'll go back to work. But within 3 months, we'd signed so much business, I already needed another member of staff. And we just knew that we were onto something. Fast forward, we're 3 and a bit years down the line. We've got commercial premises. We'll be 13 staff strong shortly. We've got over 350 customers. It's just been phenomenal, more than I could ever have imagined.
That is incredible. Like that is such an inspiring story, especially like you took this risk and you didn't know how it was going to go, but like how you did it was so thoughtful and it was like, hey, I'm going to give this a try. And then seeing the fruits after 3 months and making your first hire, that's incredible. Well, I'm super excited to keep going with this conversation. And now looking at, you talked a little bit about your clients or your customers. If I were to say walk into your doors, how would I know I would be an ideal customer for you?
Well, you would be an ideal customer for me if you're running your own business, quite honestly. And the other aspect of it is individuals who have sold second properties and they've got capital gains tax to pay. People are confused about it. They don't understand, and solicitors won't help you with this. They say go find a taxation expert to help. People walk in sort of like this worried look on their face. I'm selling this rental property generally because they can't afford the mortgage on it anymore because the rates have gone up. And how
Mhm.
much tax am I going to pay out of this? And I'm able to sit down with them, take all the worry away. So, look, it's probably not going to be as bad as you think it is. There's lots of allowances. Let's look
Mhm.
through this. Let's see, did you ever live in the property? What renovation work have you done on the property? And go through it, put their minds at ease and say, look, the tax bill's probably only going to be about this when you sell. Just relax. It's fine. It's just hand
Mm.
holding people. And it's exactly the same with business. People get worried about cash flow. They get worried about their profitability. They need to borrow money. Is this going to be a success? Well, with us, we're all people from industry. We've all been sat there next to the CEOs, running their businesses with them hand in hand. We're able to handhold clients through, whether that is a little sole trader with his first plumbing job and how do I price this and what do I do, up to
Mhm.
companies who are running 150 staff and need help restructuring. We help
Mhm.
all sorts of businesses, but we are very much well known for being hand holders.
That is incredible. Like, business owners need that kind of love and care, I feel like. So that's, it's the perfect option. And, kind of looking at your business, what is something that maybe people don't know about your business that you wish they did?
I think a lot of people don't know that we offer an FD service. And I only know this from a recent survey that we did where we said, what additional services would you like us to offer? And so many people came back and said, an FD service. And it's like, oh, we already offer that. So if you need an FD that's going to come and sit, either that a monthly or a quarterly meeting, come sit
Mhm.
in with your board, give you strategic direction, help you, assist with budgeting and forecasting. We offer that service as well.
That's incredible too. And looking at kind of your leadership style, you have a staff of 13. What would you describe your leadership style as?
Oh, I'd say it's firm but fair. It always has been, and it probably always will be.
Mhm. And that's I see that in accounting and different things too, especially with dealing with numbers and dealing with other businesses. So I think that's great. Do you see any like emerging leaders on your team right now?
Ah, yes, yes, I do. We are big on succession planning and the future, and I love investing in my staff. Almost everyone in the building is on some sort of course to help them improve.
Hmm.
Very much love developing and helping people grow. There are a couple of key members of staff that we've identified as future leaders. One of them is on a program to be operations director. She knows what she's working to. We're having 6-week check-ins, adding to her duties as we go along.
Hmm.
And another one, I see the spark in her already. I know she's close to finishing her exams, and that will be something we can discuss going forwards. But yes, I'm very good at identifying the future leaders of the business and helping them develop into the best leaders they can be.
Definitely. Well, it sounds like you've got something really beautiful that you're growing. And I'd like to kind of take it back to what is maybe a challenge that you were faced with as a business owner on this journey that you overcame?
I wouldn't say we necessarily have overcome it yet, but recruitment is a massive challenge. And I hear it's
Mhm.
not just in the accountancy sector, I hear it's in many, many sectors. But we are a small business in a rural area. So there's only a limited pool of resource that you've got unless you're going to start implementing a work from home or a hybrid model going forwards, which will have its own set of challenges if we ever decide to go down that route. But recruitment seems to be really difficult. It's a case of you're going through the CVs, you can see on paper that people look good, then you meet them in person, you need to know that culture is right. And the amount of candidates that are coming through the door that don't want a job or haven't done the research properly into the job and what it entails. And then they sit down, they go home and they think, oh, actually, I didn't weigh up how much my childcare will cost. And actually, I can't take this position. That's
Mhm.
frustrating because you've invested your time in interviewing them, in making a job offer, they've accepted, and then they've gone and done the maths. And, as accountants, they should do better. They've gone and done the maths and they've realized that it doesn't work out for them. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, we are seeing a fair amount of time wasters in recruitment, which it is just difficult because you interview someone, you're with them for 45 minutes, an hour, and you have to make a judgment based on that. We have recruited people that haven't worked out. They've come in, and in a couple of weeks, when they're being taught things, they're the attitude. It's not right. You can't
Mm-hmm.
behave like that. And we won't put up with it. We have a fantastic culture here, and
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to take any negative people on board. But you see a snippet of someone in an interview, you're not always going to get it right. Recruitment is hard, especially with a fast growing business that needs really good staff behind it.
Definitely. Like when you think about recruitment, do you have a number in mind of how many employees you want to grow in the next year?
It always depends on sales, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think on average we're taking on a new person every 2 months,
Okay.
which is quite a lot to take on. Yeah, it's recruitment. I don't know what the solution is, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
When you first start out in business, as I'm sure many business owners do, you recruit from your own black book, people that you know, people that you trust, people you've worked with in the past. And
Mm-hmm.
that, as long as you put the foundations in and you treat it as an employer employee relationship, that can work really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there gets to a point where you get to a certain size where you've exhausted those black book options and you have to go out to the wider market, and then you're dealing with the general public, which is very different. There are some things we've been doing to try and improve things and help. We're really involved with the local grammar schools. We do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work experience, so we're building awareness that our business is here. But we actually ended up taking on someone who came and did work experience with us and helped develop them. And we're getting more people interested in the finance industry in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you're taking some really good measures, especially like to mitigate some of those growing pains of a growing business. Kind of looking at the future of your business, where do you see yourself growing to in the next maybe 3 to 5 years?
It's an excellent question. Well, we have done a very, very small acquisition of an accountant that is retiring about an hour away. And I think the future will be more acquisitions. This is a dip our toe in the water. How does this work out? They've been used to a different person. There's always a lot of drop off with clients when they move from one accountant to another. So we want to see how that comes across, how that retains, what the feedback is from those clients, and then
Mhm.
perhaps do a bigger acquisition and build that way as well.
I really like that. That's a really interesting, like unique approach in like acquiring and adding to the building blocks of your company. We've had such a great conversation so far. I want to touch on, the marketing that you're working on within your company to kind of get the word out about whether it be recruitment or just, selling your services. How are you doing your marketing for your company?
Oh, brilliant. Marketing. I always say to people when they start business, remember you can't be everything.
Mm,
You can't be your accountant as well as doing what you do. But another thing that you really can't be is the marketer. It's a very, very skillful talent that you really need to employ someone else to do or learn how to do it yourself. So when I first started out, I went on a course with a lovely lady called Claire Stevenson. I found on LinkedIn. And she taught me so much about learning to blog about my business, how to reuse that material in lots of different LinkedIn posts. And she really built me the right building blocks in order to get the solid um, brand awareness out there. And
mhm,
I think a lot of the people miss that marketing is really two sides. There's, like I say, you build the nice website, you make sure you have Google reviews and those sorts of things. All these things they just verify that your business is there and that your business is good. What people forget is actually you do need to pay for lead generation. And I think
mhm,
that's really key. And that was something I invested in early on in my business. And it's what got me those first 10 clients,
mhm,
those first clients that were going to pay my wage essentially. And it was worth every penny. So lead generation is really important. And one of the things we do is in every strategy meeting, which we have every other month, we review our marketing. We review what's gone good, what's not gone good, what are we continuing with, what are we changing? Because some things they work for a while and then they stop working. So it's really important to keep reassessing. So at the moment, this present moment in time, we have a lovely lad called well, we call him LinkedIn James. He is on LinkedIn pretending to be me with his little robots or whatnot in the background, contacting our ideal clients and letting them
Mhm.
know we're there. Do you want to book a meeting? Let's have a chat. I also have Beth, who's our marketing exec here. She's making content, she's posting it regularly on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. And then most recently, we have launched our own podcast. It's called Taxed and Relaxed. So it's on Spotify. It's only one episode in at the moment, but we're doing one every Monday. And it's looking at topics, going to be engaging the community in it, talking to different businesses as well, and on topical things. At the moment, it's all budget, 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 what's happening, because there's a lot of tax changes people are afraid of. So we're looking at speculating what they could be. And then after the budget on the 30th of October, we're going to break that down. What does it mean for businesses? What can we do to mitigate it? How can we make this easier for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, as a fellow podcaster, that lights me up, and it shows that you're utilizing the marketing in a unique way, because podcasts really can create some really fun and dynamic content. So congratulations on your podcast launch. That is so exciting. Um
Thank you. It's brilliant. It's been something in the works for a long time in my mind. And every now and then I've said to the gang, like, oh, we really need to do a podcast. We get asked the same questions all the time by clients. Imagine if we could just give them a link and say, do I need to be a limited company? Why don't you have a little listen to this and then come back if you have any questions? And the engagement from the team hasn't been very good. But then I bumped into a lovely lady at a networking group in Stratford upon Avon called the Shakespeare I go to, and she makes podcasts, and she obviously helps businesses make their own podcasts, whether that's like internal training videos, whether it's external. And I said, we have to talk. And that's how it finally got off the ground.
That's incredible. It's so awesome when you meet the key players that are such a help on those journeys. So congratulations on that. This has been an incredible conversation. I'd like to dive into a fun part of the conversation called the rapid fire questions, where we ask you four questions and you answer very top of mind, first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's go for it.
All right. Question number one is, what is a key to success for you?
What is a key to success? The right people. 100% is the key to success. When you're in a service-based business, those you have to look after those staff so they will look after your clients. I think that's a Richard Branson quote, to be fair,
Mhm.
but it is so true. The key to success is 100% the people behind you, because there's only so much
Mm.
you can do.
Oh, definitely. I completely resonate with that. Number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
That's easy. Get an accountant early on. The amount of businesses I've come across where they have just set their business up on their own, and you're looking at it like, well, I'd love to do some tax efficiencies with this, but we're going to have to redo the share structure. And that's a lot of work off the bat. Where if we just had this conversation before you set up, we would have set it up in a nice tax efficient way from the start. But yeah, get an accountant early on unless you feel like you really know tax and accountancy. Just do it. It's an expense that is worth way more in your tax efficiencies that you'll save.
100%. And number three is, what is a book or piece of content, something that you've taken in most recently?
Oh, that's interesting. Um, Worlds in Collision is something I've read recently by
Mm.
Emmanuel, please forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Velofsky. Really interesting. I'm very big on maths and science, always have been, hence the accountancy. And it's definitely worth a read if you like your science stuff. And it's a real break from everything else that I do in my day-to-day life.
Mm. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that down. I just put that down on my list.
Oh, it
And
actually was the book found on Einstein's desk after he passed away.
wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out for real. That is amazing. Like that, I'm really curious
It's
now.
an
'Cause
interesting read. It's an
if
interesting read.
if Einstein's reading it, I'm like, well, let's give it a go. I love that. Oh, and our final question is, if you could rapidly improve, like wave a magic wand and improve one aspect of your business overnight, what would it be?
I guess onboarding to make it really smooth and nice for clients. And we have a whole team behind us that, um, I say behind us, it's part of many people's job here to do onboarding and be involved. But it's very bitty, and unfortunately, that's the way it is. You have to get authorization from HMRC, we have to get information from the previous accountant. There's lots of things that have to happen to onboard a client. And it'd be lovely to wave a wand and say, we click a button and onboarding is done and they're our clients and we can now work for them. We have everything we need. That would be amazing.
I love that. Well, this has been such a great conversation. Before we get to our final question for today, how can people find you and get connected with your business?
The best way to find me is on LinkedIn, Rachael-Ann Harrison or Chadwick Accountants and Bookkeepers Limited. We also have an Instagram and Facebook page. However, the best thing you can do is go on Spotify and download our podcast, Taxed and Relaxed.
I'm going to check that out too, because that is something that I think business owners really struggle with. So I think this is such a great resource. This has been such a great conversation. And for the final question for today, what is most inspiring to you today?
What is most inspiring to me? Oh, it's such a difficult question. What is most inspiring to me? To be honest, we work with so many businesses and helping them flourish and seeing them do so well. That's inspiring. It really is. And whenever I sit down with clients, they always come, they say, wow, you've grown a lot since the last time we saw you. And it's always the same when I go to their offices as well. And I say, oh, did you get upstairs as well? But helping these businesses grow and achieve what they want to achieve, whether that's world domination or for some people it's just a work-life balance. And
Mhm.
you talk to them and say, I see you're on holiday again. You've had a fantastic year, haven't you? Barbados, is it at
Mhm.
Christmas? And
Yes.
I think it's inspiring. I think we inspire each other by the continual growth and success of our businesses.
Definitely. Well, those are inspiring words. And thank you so much for this incredible episode. To all of our listeners, definitely like and subscribe for these great episodes. And so thank you so much, Rachael-Ann. It has been a joy.
You're most welcome, Kate. It's been fun to do.